Hey, what's up everybody? Crazy here. So the Slender the Arrival Twitter account just recently put out a quick teaser that is basically teasing what seems to be a remake of the Slender the Arrival video game. It could either be that or a sequel. We even see on their official website there's currently a countdown going on with the text Slender the Arrival and Slender Man in the background. So yeah, it's very clear that there is a brand new game coming out. And being a Dead by Daylight channel, this really made me wonder if this means Slenderman could be more likely than ever before. We do know that in August, we are getting a licensed chapter. However, this does include a survivor, and I do not think there's any potential survivors for a Slenderman chapter. However, in November, we are also getting yet another licensed chapter, but this time around with only one killer. Meaning, I think Slenderman could be a very big possibility for the November licensed chapter. Before this game announcement, there was a lot of speculation and talk about whether the rights for Slenderman were up in the air, because it was previously owned by Mythology Entertainment, which apparently had some problems where they were changing ownership, and there was talks of them possibly going under. But with this new game announcement, it seems, whether it's through Mythology Entertainment or some other means, that they have figured out the licensing situation. We know that Mythology Entertainment got the rights from Victor Surge himself, who made the original Photoshop contest for Slenderman. This is the iconic image that started this whole creepypasta of Slenderman. So yeah, my best bet is that Mythology Entertainment probably managed to get their feet up and finally is working with other companies for Slenderman. And again, that makes me wonder if they might be open to other collaborations, such as a Dead by Daylight chapter. With the licensing situation for Slenderman finally being figured out with this new game releasing, I think there's a very big chance that either sometime soon or sometime a while in the future, Dead by Daylight could potentially add Slenderman. I mean, even if we aren't getting them anytime soon, I'm sure Dead by Daylight could see this new game releasing and see that the license is up for grabs and want to have a take at it themselves. I'd go as far to say that I believe the November chapter has a very big chance of being Slenderman. I mean, we've seen in the interview where they announced the next chapters after Nicolas Cage were going to be licensed, they even said these will be licenses with a big capital L. And while Slenderman isn't necessarily as popular as it used to be, I definitely think with another game and more stuff going on with it, that popularity will go right back up to where it was. And if you've been around YouTube around the time that Slenderman was popular, you will know that it was a big household name and many people enjoyed it. Therefore, I think it has a very, very big potential. Do I think Springtrap or Pennywise have a higher chance? Honestly, I'm not too sure. I'd say Slenderman, Springtrap, and Pennywise are probably all tied for me right now. As for how his abilities could work, they can do any number of things. I do have a couple ideas that could work, and while they might not necessarily be 100% balanced, these are things they can change around and mess around with. First of all, we know that in the games, whenever he gets close to you, there's a prominent static screen that shows up. And while I think this as a permanent passive ability would be way too strong, maybe some kind of timed ability, similar to how they can blind you with a flashlight, might be a very interesting ability. Of course, I would not want this to last too long, but maybe just long enough to throw them off guard and kind of lose sense of where they were heading. This would be especially useful during loops, and yeah, it definitely would be very difficult for them to balance, but it could be something fun to play around with. They can also, on top of that, maybe add a passive stealth mechanic, because we do know that he's very quiet, he makes no noise in the games whatsoever. Also, in a lot of different media, we see him portrayed with these kind of void black tentacles. And obviously, this could be used for any number of things. First of all, I think it would be great to have the tentacles used for pickup animations for the survivors, taking them out of the lockers, maybe even breaking generators and doors and pallets. Because we do see that Slenderman isn't very agile. He kind of stands very stiff and still, and that's part of what makes him so creepy. So I think using his tentacles to get around that would be pretty great. Basically in the same way they do with Pinhead. Pinhead is also a similar stature and isn't very agile, so they made him use chains rather than, breaking it with his hands or something. So yeah, I think the same case could be used for Slenderman very well. Ability-wise, he can maybe have an ability kind of similar to Wesker or Nemesis, or maybe even have his own different take on it, where he maybe could trap them with the actual tentacles in place for a second. I don't know, there's a ton of different interesting things I think they could potentially do with this. If they don't decide to use the tentacles for abilities, I would like to see, like what I said earlier, with them having it as the different break animations and pickup animations. I do think it would be very cool to have the original creepypasta monster in the game. I mean, we've seen a lot of things like Siren Head and the Backrooms and all these kind of creepypasta type of monsters that have gotten really popular lately. So it would be really amazing to see the original creepypasta in action in Dead by Daylight. I think it'd be a big stepping stone for other creepypastas as well. Maybe we can have like a Jeff the Killer skin for the Legion, or even something as crazy as like a Backrooms map or something. We do know that they're actually making a Backrooms movie with A24, I believe it was. So yeah, I mean, it's very possible that this could be a stepping stone for other things. I don't necessarily think those latter ideas were necessarily too likely, but just spitballing some cool ideas that I think would be very awesome. Anyways, that's basically everything for today's video. If you did enjoy, a like would be much appreciated, and a subscribe would be very helpful. If you'd like, you can leave a super thanks or a membership if you so desire. And yep, as always, have a wonderful day and stay safe in the fog.